But yeah, super glad to be here and talk about prescribed fire. I want to take an opportunity before I get into talking about wildfire and some of the normal slides that we share with this group. And I really want to do a little bit of a brag on our agency and some of the work that we're doing internally, and some of the work that our leadership is doing to address some of the really challenges and opportunities that we face as an agency, and recognizing those challenges and trying to come up with some solutions that we can put into play and put into action with our agency to address those, so that we are well equipped to continue to do the type of services and perform the type of services specifically around prescribed fire for our state. So, no surprise to anyone in this room that retention and recruitment is a critical need for our forest protection group. Many of you in here that work for organizations, or you own your own business, or you work for a private business, I bet if I asked for a show of hands, just about everybody in here would talk about or could share stories about how difficult it has been over the last couple years to attract talent and to retain talent and to develop that talent, and to give and to keep that talent performing to the way that your company or your business or your organization needs them to. And we're no different here at the Georgia Forestry Commission. This is a staggering number that 43% of our frontline rangers, which are our wildland firefighters, and they are the folks that you call to come out and put in your fire breaks and help you with prescribed burning, have less than 3 years. 58% of those employees have less than 5 years of experience. I will say that I do want to give Governor Kemp and the legislature a shout out and a pat on the back for the work that they did this past legislative session with some of the initiatives that they put in play for state employees, specifically giving a cost of living increase of $5,000 to employees. And then there were some other fringe benefits in there that they added in, like increasing the matches to our 401k plans. And the reception and the feedback that I've received from my employees has been tremendously supportive and appreciative of that. And really, when that came along, it presented our leadership and our agency an opportunity to kind of say, all right, let's step back. Let's see what this is going to mean to our agency, and let's see how we can partner, or if there are opportunities that we can partner with what the governor and the legislature have done, and find ways within our existing means or our existing operating funds that we have, that we can partner with that huge advancement and really enhance it for some of those critical positions and critical needs that our agency has. And protection is one of those areas that we've identified as critical because of that experience factor, and because of the risk of the type of work that individual and that employee performs for us. And so I was really proud of our leadership group. I think we've got some of those folks here today with us. I think Frank Sarles, many of you in here know Frank, our fire chief. I see him standing up in the back there. Frank, I believe I saw Gary White here today, and then there was a group of others in the leadership that we huddled up for many hours and looked at a lot of data and a lot of information, and came up with a way to develop pathways for our rangers, and base it on tenure, and base it on some metrics and performance indicators that those employees would have to reach. And so our existing pathway for rangers had been about 24 months to 36 months, and that ranger would be tapped out with a 10% increase, and then really had no pathway beyond that except for a promotion into another job. And those opportunities are fairly limited in those individual counties and individual areas where a wildland firefighter ranger is located. I'm really proud of the work that we did. We've stretched that from a 36-month 24 to 36-month opportunity to now a ranger that comes on board with us over 6 years has a pathway and he can see or she can see exactly where they can be at a compensation level after 6 years based on tenure and then based on if they are aggressive and they meet the performance indicators that we ask them to accomplish. And really excited about that. And data shows, I brought some of this with me from some of my previous roles in previous work that I've for other companies. That data shows that if you can keep an employee for about 6 years to 8 years, you greatly increase that opportunity of that employee having a longer career with you. And so that's the 60-month window, 60-month time frame that we that's really the foundation of why we stuck with that um, 60-month time period. So really excited about that. I think that's and what we did there, we also implemented that for new employees, and then we also implemented it for our existing Ranger workforce. And why did we do it for our existing Ranger workforce? Uh, the reason was we really need that more mature and existing Ranger workforce that we have to hang on with us for a little bit longer and train some of these newer employees that we have behind and pass along some of that intellectual property and knowledge and experience that they have to that newer workforce that we have on staff and will be continuing to add in the months and the years to come. So the anecdotal feedback that I'm getting from that is extremely positive. I'm aware of two very senior rangers, wildland firefighters that have reached out to me directly and had retirement, had the door open to retirement, and as a result of this initiative that our leadership has put in place, have told me that they were going to hang around for another 24 to 28, 36 months. So. Beginning to work, beginning to make some strides in the right direction there, and super excited about that. We also looked at our Chief Rangers Solutions Task Force. We assembled a group. We, as an agency, over time, we've asked a lot of our leadership at the county level. We've asked them to do a lot, and so we thought it would be an appropriate time to pull together a task force to look at how we could drive efficiencies back into that um, county level leadership position and look for redundancies, look for opportunities for improvement, all with the goal of realizing that if we reduce that clutter, we reduce that noise for that leadership position, that improves service to the community. And it improves our ability as an agency to be more nimble and be more responsive to the needs of what the community's asking for us or asking for us to do. So super excited about that work. We brought in a facilitator that I think stretched our group a lot, that was fun. We got some really good information out of that. We've reassembled that group and brought back some recommendations, and we're well down the road addressing a lot of the issues and a lot of the concerns that group had. So looking forward to greater advances and moving further down the road, looking for opportunities to improve and drive efficiency. Uh, another strategic initiative that really is deep and rooted in me, and it's a message that we talk about quite often amongst our agency, is customer service, and specifically around permit issuance, increasing prescribed burn on private lands, and then also looking for opportunities on how we can use drones to conduct prescribed burning more efficiently and to get more burning done across the landscape. So uh, we've got the gas pedal down on that, and we continue to talk amongst our agency on that. And I would encourage anyone in the room that has feedback on that from us, or has a positive experience, or maybe doesn't get the experience that they think they deserve, to feel free to reach out to me and have those conversations. I'd love that kind of feedback either way. We've also brought on board in the agency a strategic initiatives director, a gentleman by the name of Thomas Farmer. Many of you guys in here that are in the environmental community or in the conservation group may know Thomas. But right after I came to work here 19 months ago, the Department of Audits for the state brought together brought to our agency a performance audit of our forest protection department and really discussed resource allocation. Do we have our resources allocated around the state appropriately? Are we doing things efficiently? And so we were tasked with developing a response back to that audit. And how, as an agency, are you going to address the findings in the audit? I will say that the findings in the audit really discuss how well our wildland fire suppression activities are in Georgia comparative to other states. Really bright spot in that audit. And there were lots of other bright spots in the audit, but there were things that we can improve on. And so we brought Thomas on uh, with the support of the legislature and funding from the legislature for 18 months to help us develop a response as an agency to that audit. So he came on board last I guess 2 weeks ago. He was planning to be here, but he had a medical emergency or a concern he had to take care of today, so he was unable to be with us. But he's going to be around for the next couple weeks and months, doing a lot of listening, getting a lot of information, so he can be informed and he can help us as an agency develop an audit response that addresses some of those findings in the audit. That audit is up on our website. I believe it's up on our website, or we'll be glad to get you a copy of that if anybody's interested in seeing what that is. So I want to spend just a second on this customer service and permits and notification. For me, since I've arrived here, the permit system is something that I hear about. I get phone calls, emails pretty regularly about the permit system, and on really good burn days, as you can imagine, and some of you in here may have experienced, call volume, demand is extremely high, and but what we have in place in Georgia is a pretty robust permit system. We collect a lot of data, and we use that data in a lot of effective ways. So we feel like there's value in that data. Uh, but what we also know is that the efficiency of issuing a permit comes with experience. And not only are we having experience, the need of it, the experience issues that we see in our protection department with our ranger staff, we also have those issues with our dispatch and with our permit system, a permit issuance system in our call centers, and that creates a little bit of of difficulty in issuing permits. Um, very efficient. And so we're committed to addressing that, and we're committed to trying to figure out opportunities to improve that. One of the ways that we've done that is for the 3,500 certified prescribed burners is to give you guys the option to go online with a request the day before you want to do the burn, and you'll receive a permit issuance by text or by email. I think that's a great step forward. I think we can also make some additional steps forward that we're talking about and considering as an agency to continue to improve that level of service through our call centers and through our folks that are issuing burn permits. The other thing is that we want to make you guys aware of, and trying to really do a better job of talking and making known, is that there's always been the option to call the afternoon, late in the afternoon, call your local office to get a burn permit. And I would encourage you to continue to take advantage of that if you are doing that. If you are not doing that, that generally is a slow period with burn permits versus calling first thing in the morning. So know that that option is available for you as well. Um, This also, we think long term is going to have drive efficiency in the permit issuance. And this was the legislation that was passed last year by the legislature that no longer requires individuals that are burning hand piled debris piles. That's kind of hard to say. That are burning those hand piled debris piles, they no longer have to call to notify us of those burns. All they have to do is adhere to these standards that are codified in language when they're doing those burns, and that's the only requirement. We think long term that's going to help. We're still getting a lot of those phone calls because it's just nature of habit for individuals around the state. They've always called to notify their Georgia Forestry Commission office. So we're still getting a lot of those, but we think over time we'll see a reduction of phone calls associated with those types of burns. Switching gears now to some of the data that our teams put together that I think you are interested in. Last year our number of permits and notifications were around 78,000, down a little bit from 2021, but up pretty significantly from the year of the pandemic, 2020 for sure. So a lot of activity, a lot of permits being issued, lots of work and effort behind the issuance of burn permits and notifications. These are for land clearing, agriculture, and silviculture. Acres treated with prescribed fire in 2022, 1.36 million acres, so about flat from last year, year over year. Still a little bit ahead of 2020 and 2019. So many of you in here are responsible for that good work. And so you should be applauded for that. Be thankful for that. I think we are the envy of a lot of states, not only in our region but all around the country, for the work that we get done on the ground here in Georgia, and the focus and the effort and the energy that we put forward to putting fire down on the ground and recognizing the value of what it means to have prescribed fire on the ground. Silviculture burns, this is the breakdown of that 1.3 million acres. Most of that is silviculture burning. So, we know the value of that, right? Wildlife habitat, fuel mitigation, just aesthetics, ease of passage of through the forest. And so just a lot of value there. And it's really, really encouraging to see that we continue to burn this many acres across our state. Number of acres that GFC we did direct burn assistance with was down to 120,000 acres in 2022, down from 152,000 in 2021. A couple drivers behind that. It obviously our workforce. The experience factor is one of those. But if you guys remember, February, March of last year turned into a little bit of a dry period, and fire conditions, I guess, increased, and we began to respond to a fair amount, above normal amount of wildfires around the state. So our ability during that 4 probably to 5 week period in February and March, when we all know that that's the peak season for doing prescribed burning, was pretty limited because all of our resources, or many of our resources, were allocated to wildland fire suppression. So that was one of the other contributing factors that took place and had an impact on that. Our commitment and our goal is still around the 150,000 acres going forward. So help us get there. If you need assistance, feel free to reach out to our local county offices. Number of wildfires burned in Georgia. Obviously, this is somewhat correlated to that conversation I was just having about that time period between February, March, and then actually a little bit into May and June. We had a little bit of a dry spell where we had some fires going on as well. Acreage was up 20,000. The numbers were up about 27. Really interesting. Probably our most interesting fire of the year was over at St. Catherine's Island. I don't know if many of you probably saw that on social media, or the Atlanta news stations and media picked it up, and it was 2,200 acres ended up burning on St. Catherine's, and I think all but for a couple days, that fire was probably beneficial to St. Catherine's and to that maritime forest over there. I think a couple days it got pretty pretty hot, and had some more severe damage to the forest, but for the most part pretty beneficial fire. But I was really proud to just sit back and observe and watch and support our team that was over on St. Catherine's, and safely, under some unusual circumstances, that they managed that situation extremely well and supported St. Catherine's Island, and contained that fire. And it ended up being about 2,200 acres when it was all said and done. But we were barging the equipment over. We were using aerial equipment. We were using a lot of hand tools and a lot of backfiring, and it just was really nice to see our folks do a really nice job in an unusual circumstance. And then most importantly, they did it safely, and no one was injured, or there were no injuries, or no property lost on St. Catherine's. Top leading cause of wildfire in Georgia remains to be debris burning, and that includes agriculture, silviculture, and land clearing, and then hand-piled natural vegetation. 53% of our fires are caused by escape debris burning in the state. We still do a tremendous amount of work on fire prevention. We had a fire prevention team down here in Southwest Georgia last year, where we were running around for a week talking to communities, news stations, newspapers, just really focusing on fire prevention and fire mitigation techniques in these communities. And why did we focus in these communities? Because of the hurricane, and because of the debris that was that could be on the forest floor and on the ground associated with those Hurricane Michael. In closing, I just want to go. We've had, in fiscal year 22, we had 181 individuals attend 5 of our prescribed fire manager and certification systems. Sessions, excuse me. And then we currently have about 3,500 prescribed burners in the state of Georgia. And I would just remind you that we got a couple of those coming up, and one in October up in Carrollton, and then we have one up in Jessup on December the 7th and 8th. And if you are interested in that and you haven't been through that course, I'd encourage you to do that. If you know of others that are doing burning on the ground, I'd encourage you that maybe haven't been through it too, to take advantage of that great course, and really understand fire behavior and begin to understand fire weather and the impacts of that fire weather on fire across our landscape. So with that, I'll end and